The Nine Worlds, a tale of Nordic mythology. In the time before time, in the void known as Ginnungagap, there was nothing but endless silence. To the north lay the realm of ice and mist, and to the south blazed the kingdom of eternal fire. Where these primal forces met in the great void, creation stirred. From the melting frost emerged Ymir, first of the frost giants, and beside him the great cosmic cow Audumbla, whose milk sustained him. As the cow licked the salty ice, she slowly revealed a being of extraordinary power, Buri, the first of the gods. From Buri's line came Bor, who wed the giantess Bestla, and together they brought forth 3 sons who would change the fate of all worlds: Odin, Vili, and Ve. These 3 brothers gazed upon Ymir and his brood of chaotic frost giants, and in their divine wisdom they saw the need for order. In a decisive act that would echo through the ages, they slew mighty Ymir. From his vast form, they crafted the world we know. His flesh became the earth beneath our feet, his blood the surging seas, his bones the towering mountains, and his hair the forests that whisper in the wind. His skull formed the great dome of the sky, his brains scattered to become the clouds, and from his eyebrows the brothers created Midgard, the realm that humans would call home. But this was just the beginning. The brothers' vision encompassed 9 worlds, each unique, each vital, all connected by the branches of Yggdrasil, the world tree. Picture, if you will, this mighty ash tree, its branches reaching into the heavens, its 3 great roots extending into different realms, its trunk the axis of all existence. In its highest branches sits gleaming Asgard, home of the Aesir gods, where Odin's great hall Valhalla stands with its roof of golden shields. Here the Valkyries bring fallen warriors to feast and prepare for Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods. Below lies Alfheim, bathed in eternal light, where the elegant light elves dwell in harmony. Deep within the earth, the dwarves forge magical treasures in their realm of Nidavellir, their hammers ringing against divine metal. At Yggdrasil's center lies Midgard, the world of humans, encircled by a great sea where the world serpent Jörmungandr lies coiled, so vast it grasps its own tail. To the east towers Jotunheim, land of the giants, eternal rivals of the gods, where chaos still reigns and ancient powers plot. Vanaheim hosts the Vanir gods, masters of sorcery and nature's secrets, while in dark Svartalfheim, the dark elves scheme in shadow. Below these realms stretches Niflheim, the primordial world of ice, and beside it, Helheim, where the dishonorable dead dwell under the rule of Hel, Loki's daughter. Here, in this cold realm, those who die of sickness or old age await Ragnarok. Among these realms stride the gods, each with their own tale, their own power, their own destiny. Mighty Odin, the All-Father, gave up his eye to drink from Mimir's well of wisdom. He wanders the worlds in disguise, seeking knowledge, accompanied by his ravens named Hugin and Munin, or thought and memory. Upon his throne, he can see all that occurs in the 9 worlds, while his 8-legged steed Sleipnir carries him between them. Thor, his most famous son, thunders across the sky in his goat-drawn chariot, wielding Mjolnir, the hammer that always returns to his hand. Defender of both gods and humans, Thor's might is matched only by his appetite for feast and battle. His red beard flashes like lightning as he fights the giants who threaten the peace of the realms. Then there's Loki, the trickster, blood brother to Odin, yet father to the gods' greatest enemies. Shapeshifter, silver-tongued deceiver, both helper and hindrance to the gods, his complex nature embodies the chaos that the gods seek to control. His children, the wolf Fenrir, the world serpent Jörmungandr, and Hel herself, are destined to bring about the gods' destruction. Among these mighty realms, stories of power, wisdom, and folly unfolded, none more fateful than the binding of Fenrir, Loki's monstrous wolf son. The gods watched in growing concern as Fenrir grew larger and fiercer each day, until prophecies warned he would bring destruction to the gods themselves. First, they tried to bind him with lading, a mighty chain. Fenrir, confident in his strength, allowed them to try. With a single stretch, he shattered it. Next came Dromi, a chain twice as strong, yet it too snapped like thread before the wolf's might. Finally, the gods commissioned the dwarves to forge Gleipnir, a ribbon made from impossible things. The sound of a cat's footsteps, a woman's beard, the roots of mountains, bear sinews, fish breath, and bird spittle. When presented with this seemingly delicate ribbon, Fenrir grew suspicious. He agreed to be bound only if one of the gods would place their hand in his mouth as a pledge of good faith. Brave Tyr stepped forward, knowing he would sacrifice his hand for the good of all worlds. As the magical ribbon tightened, the more Fenrir struggled, the stronger it became. The great wolf realized the deception and bit off Tyr's hand. Thus was the mighty Fenrir bound until Ragnarök, howling in rage on the Isle of Lyngvi. But it was Thor, the Thunderer, whose adventures became legend throughout the 9 worlds. In one famous tale, Thor journeyed to Utgard, the fortress of the giants, with Loki and 2 human companions. There, the giant king Utgard Loki challenged them to seemingly simple contests. Thor attempted to lift a cat, which was actually the Midgard serpent in disguise, tried to outdrink from a horn connected to the ocean, and wrestled an old woman who was, in truth, Death herself. Though he seemed to fail each challenge, he had actually performed incredible feats, nearly lifting the world serpent, noticeably lowering the ocean's level, and staying standing against Death longer than any being before. Another tale tells of Thor's missing hammer, stolen by the giant Thrym. The giant demanded Freya's hand in marriage for its return. Instead, Thor himself dressed as the bride, with Loki as his handmaiden. At the wedding feast, Thor's enormous appetite and burning eyes nearly gave him away, but Loki cleverly explained away each suspicious behavior. When Thrym finally placed Mjolnir in the bride's lap to bless the marriage, Thor seized his weapon and slaughtered the giants. Perhaps most famous was Thor's fishing trip with the giant Hymir, where he used an ox head as bait and nearly caught Jörmungandr, the world serpent. The giant, terrified as the serpent's enormous head rose from the waves, cut Thor's line before he could land the final blow, an act that would have changed the course of Ragnarök itself. While Thor defended the realms with strength, Odin sought power through wisdom and cunning. The tale of the Mead of Poetry reveals how far the All-Father would go for knowledge. This magical mead was created from the blood of Kvasir, the wisest being ever to exist, who was born from the spittle of all the gods and then murdered by dwarves. The dwarves mixed his blood with honey, creating a mead that bestowed the gift of poetry and wisdom. After passing through many hands, the mead ended up with the giant Suttung, who hid it in a mountain under his daughter Gunnlod's guard. Odin worked for 9 days as a farmhand for Suttung's brother, earning 1 sip of the mead. But Odin had greater plans. He seduced Gunnlod, who allowed him 3 sips, with which he drained all 3 vessels. Transforming into an eagle, he fled with the mead, with Suttung in eagle form close behind. Reaching Asgard just in time, Odin spat the mead into vessels the gods had prepared. Some drops fell to Midgard during his flight, becoming the inspiration of lesser poets, while the gods kept the true mead.